Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Let's talk Wyoming Valley Warriors football. Well, we talked about a week ago or so with the NEPA Shock. It is the same league and some football. Of course, always great to talk about. Steve Nestorick, the head coach, joining us. So, Steve, for you, this is a new venture for this team. Let's first up and talk a little bit about getting it all together and putting it together. And now you guys have a plan. You'll be playing some football in about a month.
Yeah, that's right. We're a brand new team, first year in the league. We got a couple of fresh owners and a bunch of hungry young guys looking to play some football.
Well, Steve, let's talk first about you. Tell us about your background with football and part of the area that you grew up in and what football was like when you were younger and to where you are now.
Well, I grew up in NEPA. I'm local. I'm from Wilkes-Barre. Went to Coughlin. So I've played football since I was a little kid up until now. I'm still young. I'm only 23, but I've been living and breathing the sport ever since day one. So I'm just in love with it. I've done some assistant work, just volunteer stuff. This is my first time being the head man, so I'm excited to get it going.
Well, Steve, talk about the endeavor as a 23-year-old head coach, getting some talent and making sure you guys are able to compete out there in the league you're in.
I mean, it's a challenge for sure, being so young and working with guys that are so close to your age group, but we all have a mutual respect for each other, and we just want to work hard, and we're dedicated, and we want to get out there and play some quality football this coming March.
Well, Steve, let's talk about the rules for the football that you guys will be playing. A little smaller squad, right, and smaller field?
Yeah, it's 8 versus 8 in our league.
What can we expect out of the Warriors this year? I mean, in this type of league, is it usually a high-scoring type of affair?
Yeah, that's what they say. This is a high-scoring kind of league since it's only, it's 8-on-8. The field's a little shorter, not as wide as a regular field would be, but we're hoping to bring some defense to this high-scoring league and keep it a little lower.
How about some talent that you have on your squad so far? I mean, is your team pretty much set at this point because you guys will be hitting the field outdoors for March?
Yes, our roster is completely set, and we've got a lot of quality players on the team. We've got Tyler Gates, starting quarterback. He's a real leader out there for the team. We love having him. He's also a co-owner on the team. And another guy on the defensive side, we've got Sam Blankenship at middle linebacker. He's someone to watch out for as well.
And how about gathering the guys and working on the roster and figuring out, I'm sure you have some guys probably in the, maybe 19, 20 years old, and then maybe you have a couple of guys in their upper 20s or maybe even some guys in their 30s.
We're probably one of the youngest teams in the league, actually. We don't have nobody in their 30s. Everybody's pretty young on the team. So it's like gathering together, staying disciplined, that can be a challenge sometimes, but we're banging through it.
Well, Steve, let's talk about where you guys will be playing those football games when you do have home games.
Yeah, since we're based in the Wyoming Valley, our home field is actually in Exeter, PA. It's anybody looking for it, it's 1690 Rear Wyoming Ave in Exeter.
Steve, let's talk a little bit about what you know about the NEPA Shock, and that should be an immediate rivalry, I would think, a team that is from northeastern Pennsylvania.
Yeah, our guys, a lot of them know and love playing against the Shock. Like that, they've been talking about it ever since I got with the team, how much they want to play the Shock. And I'm hoping to see them in the playoffs. That's where I want to meet the Shock real bad.
And, Steve, let's talk about some of the traveling that you guys will be doing. Tell us about some of the teams that you'll be playing that are on your schedule.
Well, the league's pretty diverse with how many teams and locations there are in the league. Like, there's teams all the way out west in Du Bois. There's Cumberland Valley. You got to go down to, the Maryland border for some games. They're pretty widespread throughout Pennsylvania.
Steve Nestorick joining us here on the John Mendola Show as we talk about the Wyoming Valley Warriors. 8-man football getting ready to get underway in March. Steve, how about some things as a head coach, putting together a game plan for games and how long? Is it quarters? Is it halves? Tell us a little about some of those little details and how you'll try to execute it from the coaching standpoint.
Well, it's quarters just like regular ball. And as a game plan standpoint, you just go in and since it's my first year in the league, I'm not familiar with some of the teams, so I'm doing my best to gather as much information as possible, look up old tape on YouTube, and find out as much I can about rosters and certain players and playmakers and who to look for, what certain teams like to do. And we're building as we go, and we feel like we've got a pretty good game plan set for week one.
All right, it is the Wyoming Valley Warriors football team, 8-man football. They'll be playing their games right off of Wyoming Avenue in Exeter, so you can check them out. And again, the games will be starting in March. Steve, want to thank you for your time and wish you well in your new endeavor.
All right, thank you, John. Thank you for having us on the show today.
Steve Nestorick, the head coach for the Wyoming Valley Warriors on the John Mendola Show. We are driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.